I went to Cambodia. This was my first fundraising experience. Um, it was for a school over in Cambodia. We fundraised in various ways to physically build the foundations of the school. And then when we flew there, we got to physically build the school with the kids. Some of them would be studying there. I got to learn with them. A lot of them also wanted to help people. Some of them wanted to be teachers. Some of them wanted to be doctors. And I also got to engage with a lot of people in the community. I learned that there were other kids who were unable to attend this school that we were building because it's their job to carry water back to their families. Right. And this is where my eyes opened that water is the essential element of life, and it changes everything. It obviously changes health because it kills thousands of kids every single day under the age of 5. And then it also changes opportunities, right? Opportunities to get an education, opportunities to get a job, to start a business, ultimately opportunities to break out of the poverty cycle. And we're seeing right now with things like COVID-19, it's more essential than ever. And so, today I have the pleasure of having found my purpose, having found my passion, and I'm able to reap the benefits of living with all of that energy. But it wasn't like that always. When I went to university over at UBC, I felt completely lost. I went there having known how extreme clean water is, how big this problem is. I was simply following the footsteps of my father. I was going through this thing. I thought that this would be my future, and I felt like my purpose was just dormant inside of without purpose, and that spiraled into a depression. And I know that a lot of people are hurting right now. A lot of people are going through all sorts of challenges with this pandemic. But I want you to know that it's actually through that pain that you can find your purpose. It's through this pain, once you move through it, that you can actually find what your calling is. That's often where it's associated with. And so what happened is, look, there's a quote called Nietzsche that says, if you can find your why, you can endure almost any how. Right? Think about that for a second. You can endure anyhow. You can achieve whatever you set out to do if your why is strong enough, if you can find what that is. So I was in this dark place and something changed. What happened was I started to say yes to life. I started to try new things. Before, I was a naysayer. If people would come by, even if I see people that I know, sometimes I look the other way. I would not put myself out of my comfort zone. I was in a very different place to the person I am now. I went through complete transformation. But what happened was I started to say yes. I said, you know what? I'm going to stop saying no. I'm going to put myself out there. And I went to an entrepreneurial student club group. I discovered how I love starting things. I experienced that rush, but I also discovered something else about myself, that I need to be doing something good for the planet. And then I went to a student club meeting, and they were giving a presentation. They had this big whiteboard, and this female student said, look, we were approached by a downtown nightclub promoter, and they said, if you sell a ticket to this event, then all the proceeds can go to a clean water well in Kenya. And ladies and gentlemen, something inside of me just clicked. I felt this incredible surge of passion and energy. A spark was lit inside of me, and I raised my hand. No one knew me in this room. I was by myself, but I raised my hand and I said, I need to take a leadership position in this event. And I think it was just my sheer enthusiasm that was contagious in that moment, that they gave me a shot. They let me essentially run this event, and we led brainstorm sessions, and that first event was called Party Well. And at the time, I had no idea that this would become my journey, that this would end up evolving into a student club, and then a nonprofit organization, and then a music festival. I had absolutely no idea, but it was once I actually got to see the impact that we made through that event, when I went to Kipsingol, Kenya, when I carried water with families, when I saw what it was like to not have water and to have water, that I knew that this has to be my life's work. And that was only because I said yes to opportunities. It was only because I put myself out of my comfort zone. That's the only place that growth can really happen. It's when you're outside of your comfort zone. So how can you find your purpose? First of all, it's introspection. So this is one of the actual beautiful things about this pandemic. Of course, it has some incredible challenges and it's awful in so many ways, but one of the benefits is we finally get to take a step back and reflect what's really important in our lives. So what's important is to act, okay? And think of ACT like an acronym. This is from John Tallarico, one of the most brilliant mindset masters. He's a coach. He's one of the most incredible people who I'm very grateful to know. And he describes ACT as this acronym, which is, it starts with awareness. So you have to be aware of yourself. You have to be aware of not just your why, but also your how. Like, what types of activities are you gifted in? What is your talent? And what is the awareness that you have about yourself of what you should be doing? And then the second is choice, right? So you have to make a conscious choice to change. You have to make a conscious decision to not continue to do things the way that you have been doing them all along. Like, what you have done, who you have been, is not going to get you where you want to go. You need to make a choice to make some kind of change in your life if you want to achieve something and do something that you've never done before. So you have to make a choice, and then the T of ACT is take action. Right? You need to take action immediately. When you can do something, you go out and you take action. Now is the time to create, right? Everyone's a change maker. Now is the perfect time for entrepreneurship. If you look back in history at when all the greatest inventions happened, a lot of them actually happened during pandemics, right? 15th century, Isaac Newton, he came up with gravity, came up with optics, he came up with calculus during this time when he had isolation during the pandemic, when he was in there just in his thoughts, you know. And so now is the time to create, because Facebook ads costs are lower, you know, there's opportunity, and it's people who are going to create things that can actually save this economy to lift it out. So if you have any inclination to start something, I could not encourage you anymore, and I'm more than willing to support you through that entrepreneurial journey. I'm actually developing an entrepreneurship training program for people in developing countries that I can touch on later.
Wow.
So that's the first thing. It's how to find your purpose, your passion. That's where everything else stems from. Okay, and making an impact is one of the most fulfilling things. One of those beautiful things of human nature. When you make someone else happy, it makes you happy. It brings joy to yourself to make other people joy. There's a lot of dark parts of human nature, but that is the beautiful shining light of our nature that's within us. So now I'm going to share with you the 3 areas that you can make a positive impact. I'm going to give you strategic tips to maximize your impact in each of those areas. Okay, so personal positive impact, social positive impact, and then societal positive impacts. These are the avenues that you can make an impact in. And personal is actually really important, because it's not until your cup is full that it can overflow to really help other people. If you're not taking care of yourself, your mental health, your physical health, your growth, if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to make the impact that you are destined to make, that you are capable of making. So a morning routine, the first hour of your day is when your mind is most malleable. It shapes the tone of the entire rest of your day. If you do one thing in the day, protect that first hour, right? Feed your mind with positive things, with gratitude exercises. Tony Robbins has a great gratitude exercise on YouTube. It's free, with affirmations, right? Say things out loud. You can listen on SoundCloud, free. There's incredible free affirmations in there. You know, exercise, right? When you take care of your body, it's going to take care of your mind as well. It's all connected. Okay, and carve out the morning routine that's right for you. There are so many great things. There's a book called The Miracle Morning that you can check out, and there's many great tips on there too. Okay, so that's personal positive impact. The second avenue that you can make an impact, and you should be making an impact, especially right now, is social positive impact. This is your friends and your family and your roommate, the people that you know need to be taken care of right now. And if you can't see them in person because of the pandemic, because of borders, because of they're in a different country, FaceTime someone every day, shoot them a message, right? Ask them how they're doing. And if they say okay, guess what that means? That does not mean okay. That means that they need help, and they're disguising it with the word okay. If they're great, they'll say great. They'll say good. They'll say I'm doing well. If they say okay, that's a sign for that they need help. So then go deeper. Say, what do you mean? Okay, what's going on? And actually be there for them. And most people just want to be heard. They don't actually need a lot of solutions. They want to be listened to. So pay careful attention. show that you recognize how they're feeling and validate their feelings. That's one of the things you can do to take care of your social positive impact. Number three is societal, right? So this is people that you've never met yet. The world needs your help right now. Communities in Canada need your help, different parts of Canada, people around the world. Like, we have it pretty tough here in Canada with the pandemic, but there are people in other countries where the government doesn't do anything to help, right? There's no assistance whatsoever. And if you get caught with COVID, you get a huge fine. Like, that's the reality of people in places like Uganda. Like, yeah, you are punished. So people are scared to get tested. And there are situations where the world needs people's help more than ever. And how can you do this? Maybe you don't have to actually be super wealthy. You know, I'm not an incredibly wealthy person, but I do simple things. Like, you can start a Facebook fundraiser. It's so simple to do. You can donate a birthday, and you can say, hey, you know, instead of giving me a birthday present, give to this cause. Whatever the cause is that you actually care about, that you want to make a positive impact in, do that cause. You share in Messenger, you get your other friends involved, you post in groups. That's a great way that you can make a positive impact today. You can do it even if it's not your birthday. That's just one of the things that you can do. And so now I'm going to share a story of how impact kind of came to be and how we were able to adapt and somehow pull off against all odds in just like a couple months, a 4-stage in different parts of Canada with people tuning for all of it. We had 58 countries tune into this thing, and we only promoted it in 2. Somehow the word spread, and we did a few things that I can share that facilitated that. But yeah, we were gearing up for round 2 with the land already set in mind. We were in talks with the artists. We had all these things already in motion, and we learned everything from the previous year. And we're like, okay, how are we going to do this? And when it came to it, we discovered that the pandemic was going to happen. At first, we kind of brushed it off like it was going to be something huge. And then, of course, it became massive. And we regrouped and we brainstormed. We're like, okay, what can we do in this time? Because people need human connection more than ever before right now, right? People need to be able to connect with one another because there's a deficit of that. And so we try to do absolutely everything that we could online. So we had a brainstorm session. I've still got a huge mind map. Okay, it's a great tool. You just map out all these different things. And we wanted to replicate a festival as much as possible. So we got people who can design 3D fully animated stages. How do you do this? You would be surprised if you ask what ends up happening in your life. So you put a post out on Facebook and so many people comment on it. You share in different relevant groups, people comment on it. Ask your network every day how you can be of service. Do you know someone who can help me? And then ask for help. Try to do this as much as possible every single day. David Meltzer talks about that a lot. And so we took action. We pivoted and we put all of our eggs in a basket that we knew could try to make some kind of positive impact. And so we took that leap of faith. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if maybe this pandemic would blow over soon. Everyone thought it would for a while, and then sure enough, it didn't. And so yeah, you know, you need to adapt right now. If you don't adapt, and you say stagnant water is what goes bad, right? You can't drink a swamp. I mean, a lot of people, that's the reality in the world, but that's what's going to affect your health. But flowing water is safe to drink, like a river, for example. And so you need to continuously move. You need to try new things. You know, if you have a product and suddenly your market doesn't need it anymore, who else can you give that product to? Like, for example, we were doing high fidelity earplugs and, you know, most for festivals, and all that market dried up, and we're like, okay, who else can we go to? We can go to construction people, we can go to motorcyclists, right? They all need a hearing protection too. So you can change your market, or you can change your product, right? If you have some kind of creative, calling, then create something and try to sell it. You can sell it on Etsy without having to pay much overhead. You can get a free trial of Shopify. You can do things like drop shipping. We don't even have to own any inventory. Just any product you want to sell, you can do it. You can post on TikTok, all these places. They're supporting businesses with free ads right now on TikTok advertising. Say what you want about that whole platform, but it's a medium, right? It's a medium where we can get it. So you can change your product. You can launch something new, or you can change the market. These are different ways, strategies that you can pivot during these uncertain times. And like I said, now is the time to create. It's more important than ever. So look, I'm also going to share a little bit about the three methods of making a positive impact, because I believe that, you know, like I said, everyone can make a positive impact. So tangibly, if you have extra time right now, you can commit your time towards making a positive impact. There's an amazing platform called We Cause that connects nonprofit organizations, tons of nonprofit organizations, with micro tasks. Even if you don't have a lot of time, if you're great at graphic design or all any different skill you could imagine, it's on there. A micro task you can really make a positive. You could commit your time. Okay. And the other one is expertise, right? Mentorship is a feature within Facebook groups, and you know, you can do that, or you can just try to mentor some, share your expertise online, put out content online. Like I was doing a vlog every single day for a period of time, just sharing everything that I know. This is the way to actually build a following, is to try to give as much as possible, try to be of service as much as possible, give out your best stuff online, and then more people will talk about that and share, and then end up, you know, you can build followings that way. So so it's your expertise is another way to make impact. And then the third one is monetary, right? If you can afford to make a contribution, then I compel you to try to do that, because now is the one of the most important times in history to actually try to help a good cause. Because, you know, like I said, there are so many countries that are not being taken care of by their government. Their people are not being taken care of. And so, you know, it's a dire situation. And a lot of this stuff doesn't make the news. You know, people don't, unfortunately, it's share that as much. It's not as newsworthy when some of these other countries are going through some immense struggles, right? Like literally a 747, a dozen of those filled with children crashes every single day just because of the dirty water they drink. It's about 5,000 people every single day. I know it's crazy to think about it. I'm not trying to be dark, but I also know that a little bit can actually go a really long way. So this new nonprofit that I started, so I've been funding Clean Water Project for 6 years right now, through these different endeavors. And Impact Festivals funded a variety of great causes. But the thing with charity is you give a fish, right? Everyone knows the expression, teach someone how to fish, they'll eat for a day. Teach them how to fish, then they'll eat for a lifetime, right? And unfortunately, the philanthropic model of the past has traditionally always been give the fish, give the food, give the water. And sometimes that does really help in disaster situations. People do need food. But the unforeseen consequence of that is often you can destroy local economies, right? Tom Shoes, for example, like destroyed a lot of the local shoe manufacturing companies, and which is sustainable to actually help those people in the long term. And now they're trying to manufacture their shoes locally in a variety of ways. But this is an unforeseen consequence even for food, destroying the local businesses. Businesses are actually what can generate, you know, meaningful resources for people in dire need over the long term. It's the only way to sustain it. So my new nonprofit, which is using a same symbol as We Make Impact. It's called We Make Impact because this is an identity shift. I want everyone to know that you can make a positive impact, and together as a movement, we can make positive impact. And so what we've done is we've flipped this model on its head. Instead of giving someone clean water, we are giving them access to water and their entire families in a single $20 donation, but we're also giving them the trainings, the tools, the frameworks to go out and start their own water micro franchise. So what that does is it gives them the economic opportunity to launch their own business, to be able to sell these bioscent filters, which is a 3-step filtration process invented right here in Canada. They can get these to their entire communities. Right? Then their entire communities can gain access to clean water, and they include in each of their sales the same trainings, the same frameworks to start their own water micro franchises to get even more communities access to clean water. So in this way, just one simple donation can create a ripple effect of positive change and get all of these people access to clean water. There's a ripple reaction that can take place. Another big problem with charities is unfortunately the transparency. You know, some really try. Like Charity Water has GPS coordinates, and you get to see a photo, but the actual connection with that impact is very limited. And oftentimes you don't even get any of that stuff. Sometimes you get a picture, sometimes you get a general region, but you get the same update that everyone's getting. You don't really connect with that impact. And that's one of the main problems. I believe if everyone knew the realities of the world, everyone would take action, right? If your neighbor is drowning and you see this, you would go out and help them, right? But if people are equally suffering around the world, no one really bats an eye, because you can't, of course a lot of people do, but if you can't actually see it, you can't connect with it, it can be challenging. And so what we do, this is actually really inspired by my friend Kabulu over in Uganda. I sent a relatively small amount to him after Digital Impact had come to close, and he blew me away. Okay, I sent him a little funds for food, because the food shortage over there. And what he ended up doing is he took out a smartphone and he recorded. He said, "James, thank you so much for this donation. It's helped all these people." And he documented that impact, and everyone was mentioning my name in the video. And this was far more heartwarming than any other update we've received in the past. This almost brought me to tears. To be able to see that and experience it from my own device was incredible. I'd never seen anything like that done in the philanthropic sector. And so I knew that this has to be the future of how nonprofits should be operating, a direct connection with the impact. And so that is the premise, and this is the promise of anyone who contributes to We Make Impact, the nonprofit organization, is not only are you going to give one person access to clean water for only $20, you're going to give them the trainings, the entrepreneurship trainings to create a ripple effect, getting far more people access to water, and you will receive a personalized video update. So imagine, Ed, if someone says, "Ed, thank you so much. Now my whole family has water and I'm starting to get this business," and they're right, you will get that direct connection through even a $20 donation to this organization. And so that's what we're doing. We're trying to flip this model. Instead of just giving someone a fish, we're teaching them how to fish. And we're also creating a direct connection from donor to donee. We're bridging the gap through these video updates. And how did I get here from throwing a music festival? Well, it comes back to A, right? ACT of awareness. I hope you guys remember this acronym, right? It's awareness, choice, and then take action. So awareness. Like I said, finally got to take a step back from everything when Digital Impact came to close. And I did a lot of introspection. And what I realized is the most important thing for me is making an impact in the world. It's doing what I can. I don't want to go to my grave knowing I could have done more for the world. And I think everyone thinks this way, everyone wants to do something that's good. And it's not until you really look within when you can realize what that actually is for you. So I discovered that it's all about making the impact. And I thought, how can we actually do this? And that's when we came up with this concept of We Make Impact. So anyone, if monetary is the best way for you to make your impact, I encourage you to go to wemakeimpact.org. It'll be a donation unlike any other you've ever received before, because you will actually be able to see the impact, and it's going to be public for everyone. All these videos we posted on socials, you'll get a direct connection, and that'll be sent to you, and you'll see how that ripple effect starts to take place. But if you're more about the time, then I recommend you go to WeCause and you see all these incredible ways that you can commit your time. If it's expertise, I really recommend that you share that expertise with as many people as humanly possible. We're starting a knowledge library within our workplace as well to empower entrepreneurs through this stuff. So if you want to connect with me, we can make sure that people in developing countries have access to this knowledge too. But I encourage you to share it far and wide, because everyone can make an impact. Everyone can do something. And so if you're feeling lost right now, if you're feeling like you don't have enough fulfillment in your life, if you're feeling stagnant, I want you to first be aware of who you are and what your situation is. Then make a choice to start doing something, to do it now, to take action in your everyday in the way that you can, in the unique gifts and talents that you have within inside of you, so that you can maximize your impact in the world. Thank you so much.
Right.
I'd love to open the floor to questions as well.
Yeah, this is amazing, James. I love your acronym ACT. Awareness.
That's John Tallarico's. Everyone check out John Tallarico if you want a brilliant mentorship. But yes, it is an acronym that we should all do. Now is the time to act, right? Now is the time to put yourself out there into the world. But thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And yeah, for sure. I'm like, I love your analogy about how we need to do more than just give them fish, teach them to fish, right?
Mhm.
Just teach them to fish so that they can help, they can impact their neighbors, their families to start fishing as well too. And
Exactly.
I think that's the real way on how we can address like these issues now. Like you can't just keep like throwing like money or like resources at them forever. They need to
Right. It's
they
got
need to be
empowering.
given opportunities and education, and
Yes.
that is amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Ed. Yeah, let's open the floor to questions. Maybe if you're tuning into this live on Facebook, I want to see you in the chat. You know, any questions on anything that I covered today, on the areas of impact, the methods of impact, how to find your purpose, or anything you might have questions for me. Please write it in the chat. And then anyone here in the VIP section, feel free to shoot. What are your questions? Let me hear it. I see Atari getting up there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some
Mike, I guess.
second. Oh, here we go. Does it work?
Yeah, so everything you do is amazing, and I'm curious if you were planning another festival type event during the winter.
Thank you so much, Atari. Right back at you. I myself am going headfirst into starting this We Make Impact nonprofit. I'm actually traveling to Uganda at the end of the month to make sure that they are really set up for success with their micro franchises. That said, one of the beautiful things that I really enjoyed about Digital Impact Festival this year is the 50 plus transformative workshops that took place. And thanks to our partners Unify, that really helped us get these transformative workshops out there. And so if I'm personally going to do something, it would be around these workshops because I think they're really transformative. That said, Riley Arnold is doing amazing things. You know, we participated in the Burning Man event. So perhaps that could happen. If it does happen, it'll be digital. Okay. Ed, do you have any other questions, or does anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, so I do have a question from someone from one of the Facebook groups. So the question is, this is from a change maker. So this is someone a change maker, an artist who says that like she's good with music, and she wants to know like how can she take her music and make an impact, even though she's just more of a piano teacher type of person.
She's a piano teacher.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love it. Piano is such a moving instrument. So I would say that there are a lot of ways to make an impact with music. I've seen several artists do this. Eminence, I'm sure everyone knows Eminence. He's on the Monster Cat music label. He played at our in-person music festival. What he ended up doing is he put out a song and he said, look, everyone who purchases this song, he put all the proceeds towards a clean water charity. And I helped him connect with the charity in that way. And so that's one amazing way to do it. You can also, have a donation. You can go live, right? You can go live and say, hey, if someone wants to donate and make an impact, here's the link. You could have a simultaneous fundraiser that you can raise awareness with through the music, but just through teaching, right? That's the expertise side. You're empowering other people to touch other people's hearts through that piano as well. So it's also through the craft itself, but definitely music can be used in so many ways to inspire people also to take action. That's one of the beautiful things that I love about music festivals is it can be a transformative experience. It makes people more positive, more joyful. I know if I go a day without listening to music, my mental health starts to suffer. I got to put music in somehow. So go out to the streets, bring a piano and start playing to people in your society, in your social circles around you. Spread music. There's not enough music right now. Go live online, go to the public and share it as much as you can, because it's going to put a smile on someone's face.
Also to add to that, right? Like using like technology like YouTube, right? It's a great way to let people know about your talents, your skills, and you can always dedicate like a song to a cause and have like a Patreon or like a donation link at the bottom.
Absolutely, you can. Yeah, Facebook, YouTube makes that really easy to donate directly through the chat, which is amazing. Patreon, you said, is a really great platform. Yeah, that's great. Wonderful. Great question. Keep them coming. Or I
Yeah, so,
suppose we're getting close to time now, but I guess we started a little bit late. So
yeah,
let me know if you want to do another one or move forward.
yeah. So I guess like to make sure we respect everybody's time. We're going to move on to the next part of our evening, which is where we talk a bit more on the technical side on how can you as a change maker like take advantage or even just thrive